It's 4:47 p.m. on May 20th, 1951, and Captain James Jabara is 27,000 feet over Shinaju when Lieutenant Colonel Ben Emmett's voice crackles through his headset. "Drop tanks." Jabara reaches for the jettison switch. He feels the left external fuel tank release and fall away, but the right tank stays locked to the wing. 300 pounds of dead weight and drag hanging off his F-86 Sabre like an anchor. He's supposed to abort. Standing orders are clear. If your tanks don't drop, you go home. But 14 miles below him, Sabres are tangling with over 50 Soviet-built MiG-15s, and Jabara has 4 confirmed kills. One more makes him an ace, the first jet ace in history. He grips the stick with both hands to compensate for the asymmetric load and pushes forward into the fight. The sky over MiG Alley is a chaos of silver jets twisting at 600 miles per hour. Jabara spots 6 MiGs braking right and rolls after them. The extra drag from his hung tank bleeds his speed. The Sabre shudders as he pulls 6 GS into the turn. His vision tunnels. Blood drains from his head, but he holds it, fighting the handicapped aircraft into position. He settles onto the tail of a MiG-15 with North Korean markings. Range 800 feet. The gun sight reticle crawls across the enemy's fuselage. Jabara squeezes the trigger. 6 .50 caliber machine guns roar. Tracers pour into the MiG's tail section. Metal tears. Smoke erupts. The MiG pitches over and the pilot ejects in a spray of debris. Jabara's 5th kill. He's an ace. His heart pounds. But there's no time to celebrate. Another MiG flashes past his canopy. Number 6. He rolls inverted and pulls, following the enemy down through 25,000 feet. The world spins. Sky, ground, sky, ground. The hung fuel tank makes every maneuver a knife fight with his own aircraft. If you want to see how Jabara survives what happens next, please hit that like button. It helps us share more forgotten stories. Subscribe if you haven't already. Back to Jabara. The MiG pilot is good, experienced. He knows the American can't maneuver properly with that tank still attached. He brakes hard left, then right, then dives. Jabara follows, stick in both hands, pulling through 7 GS. His G-suit crushes his legs. His spine compresses, but he's closing. Range 600 feet. He fires, misses. The MiG jinks. Jabara follows. His vision blurs at the edges. 500 feet. He fires again. Tracers walk across the MiG's left wing. Smoke trails, but it's not enough. The MiG dives harder. Then Jabara sees him. Captain Vasily Nazarkin. Soviet 196th Fighter Regiment. Flying under North Korean colors because Moscow won't admit its pilots are here. Nazarkin pulls up sharply, trying to reverse the tables, but Jabara has the angle. He pulls lead and fires a long burst. The 650s chew into the MiG's jet pipe. White smoke pours out. The engine flames. The aircraft enters a spin. Jabara follows him down. 15,000 feet. 10,000 feet. Nazarkin's aircraft spins violently, slowing to 195 miles per hour. 6,500 feet. Jabara sees red tracers flash past his left wing. His radio erupts. Brake, brake, brake. But it's too late. Captain Boris Abakumov and his wingmen have dove out of the sun. Future Soviet aces with 20 kills between them. They're firing from 400 feet behind Jabara, and at this altitude, there's nowhere to go. The rounds sound like a popcorn machine going off in his cockpit. Metal pings. His airframe shudders. The hung fuel tank makes evasive maneuvers impossible. Jabara shoves the throttle to the firewall. The General Electric J-47 engine screams. He needs power. He needs speed. Now, the engine quits. Flame out. 20,000 feet over enemy territory and his jet just became a glider. No thrust. No second chances. Abakumov is still behind him, rounds hammering his tail. The airspeed indicator winds down. 450 knots, 420, 380. Jabara noses over into a dive toward the Yellow Sea 30 miles south. If he can glide that far, if he can get the engine restarted, if Abakumov doesn't kill him first, the Sabre drops like a stone. 18,000 feet. 15,000. The MiGs follow, still firing. Then two American Sabres appear from above, Jabara's squadron mates. They see the hung tank. They see the dead engine. They see the MiGs closing in for the kill. They dive between Jabara and his attackers, their guns blazing. A Bakumov breaks off. His wingman follows. They're too close to the American bases now, too far from the safety of the Yarlin. Jabara is alone at 12,000 feet with a dead engine and 30 miles to glide. He runs through the restart procedure. Check fuel pressure. Check ignition. He hits the start button. Nothing. 10,000 feet. He tries again. The turbine spins, catches, flames, quits. 8,000 feet. The yellow sea is visible now, grey water stretching to the horizon. If he goes down out there, maybe the rescue helicopters can reach him. Maybe. If the North Koreans don't get there first. 6,000 feet. He hits the starter one more time. The J-47 windmills, catches, roars to life, thrust returns. The Sabre stops descending. Jabara pulls back on the stick and starts climbing. His hands are shaking. His flight suit is soaked through with sweat. He's alive. He makes it back to Suwon Air Base 40 minutes later. The ground crew counts 14 bullet holes in his aircraft. One round passed within inches of the fuel tank that wouldn't drop. If it had hit, Jabara would have been vaporized over MiG Alley. Colonel John Mayer, commander of the 4th Fighter Wing, meets him on the tarmac. Mayer pins a distinguished flying cross to Jabara's flight suit. Then he chews him out for 20 minutes for engaging in combat with a hung tank. Word spreads fast. The first American jet ace. The newspapers want photos. The radio stations want interviews. The Air Force wants him home for a publicity tour. In Wichita, Kansas, where he grew up working in his Lebanese immigrant parents' grocery store, they're already planning the biggest parade in the city's history. But the Soviet records tell a different story. When researchers match American and Soviet loss reports after the Cold War, they discover something. On May 20th, 1951, only one MiG was actually shot down in the massive dogfight over Shinjuku. And it wasn't Jabara who got it. The Soviets lost one aircraft. The Americans claimed 3, including Jabara's 5th and 6th. Captain Vasily Nazarkin, the pilot Jabara thought he killed, landed safely at his base with a damaged engine. He never ejected. According to Soviet records, Jabara didn't actually become an ace until his second combat tour in 1953. The fog of war at 600 miles per hour made accurate kill confirmation nearly impossible. Both sides overclaimed by staggering margins. On some missions, American pilots claimed 4 times more kills than the Soviets actually lost. But on May 20th, 1951, none of that mattered. What mattered was that Jabara flew into combat with a crippled aircraft. What mattered was that he pursued his target while being shot at. What mattered was that when his engine quit over enemy territory, he glided his aircraft home and landed it safely. The kill counts will be sorted out by historians decades later, but the courage was real that afternoon. Jabara returns to Korea in January 1953 for a second tour. This time, there's no controversy. He shoots down 9 more MiG-15s in 6 months, bringing his official total to 15 victories. By any measure, Soviet or American, he's an ace 3 times over. The hard-drinking, cigar-smoking fighter pilot from Wichita is the second highest-scoring ace of the Korean War, 1 kill behind Joseph McConnell. On November 17, 1966, Colonel James Jabara is driving his family on Florida's Sunshine State Parkway. He's 43 years old, the youngest colonel in the Air Force. He's preparing to deploy to Vietnam for another combat tour. His wife Nina sits beside him. His 4 children are in the back seat. A tire blows. The car leaves the road at 70 miles per hour. Jabara and his 16-year-old daughter Carol are killed instantly. They're buried together in Arlington National Cemetery near President Kennedy's grave. Several hundred people attend. Fellow Korean war aces, Pentagon brass, men who flew with him over MiG Alley when jet combat was new and the rules were being written in blood at 600 miles per hour. The man who became an ace with a hung fuel tank and a broken engine never made it to Vietnam. He survived 163 combat missions over Korea. He survived being shot down by a future Soviet ace. He survived a flameout at 20,000 feet over enemy territory. But he couldn't survive a blown tire on a Florida highway. In MiG Alley, innovation wasn't about new technology or battlefield tactics. It was about pilots like Jabara who flew into impossible situations because someone had to, who engaged 50 MiGs with a crippled aircraft because breaking off meant leaving your friends to die, who restarted a dead engine at 6,000 feet because the alternative was unthinkable. The records may show he didn't become an ace on May 20th, 1951. But on that afternoon over Sinaju, James Jabara proved something more important than victory counts. He proved that courage doesn't need confirmation. If this story moved you the way it moved us, do me a favor, hit that like button. It means everything to us and helps us keep telling these forgotten stories. And let me know in the comments, what story should we tell next?